It is now 11 o'clock, and I would like to welcome you to our star-studded Bruges Group Conference. Before I introduce our panel for this morning's session, I'd just like to thank all of you for the part you've played over the last 30 years or so in securing our freedom from the European Union. Now, some of you may have been led to believe that the referendum result was won by the Vote Leave campaign in the weeks leading up to that vote. Now, that isn't true. It was a good campaign, but the antecedents of our victory stretch back many decades and have had many participants to whom we owe that victory. The case against membership was first eloquently enunciated by Hugh Gateskill in his compelling speech, brilliantly encapsulated by the phrase, "the end of 1,000 years of British history." Now, nearly 60 years later, it's still really the same argument. Yet despite the eloquence and analysis of those such as Gateskill and Powell, the so-called full-hearted consent of the British people was secured in the 1975 referendum on the basis, more or less, that some surrender of sovereignty might be acceptable if it helped to cure Britain's long-standing economic malaise. It would, of course, do nothing of the sort. For me, the alarm bells really began to ring in 1985, when Chancellor Lawson embarked on the policy of sterling shadowing the Deutschmark. The objective of monetary union was now clearly in view, and the political destination of EU membership could no longer be disguised. The policy of shadowing the Deutschmark, then ERM membership, destroyed the Conservative Party's reputation for economic competence and brought to an end the reforming agenda of Margaret Thatcher's government. With the ship of state listing badly, Margaret Thatcher carved out one further legacy in the shape of the Bruges speech. And I'm pleased that we have here today someone in the shape of Bill Cash, who had a crucial input into that speech. Thank you, Bill. Incidentally, ladies and gentlemen, Chancellor Lawson resigned some 30 years ago on the basis that he objected to the Prime Minister's choice of our own economic advisor, Professor Alan Walters. Today, a Chancellor resigns because the Prime Minister insists on appointing the Chancellor's very own advisors. How far we have travelled. Our success in the referendum campaign was long and hard won, and due primarily to the British people's understanding, after 40 years, of where power now clearly resided. In June 2016, Vote Leave vanished even more quickly than they had appeared. Their leaders returned to office, but not to power. Our campaign to leave, both across the country and in Parliament, went on with grim determination. Gentlemen, we are in a much stronger position, but we must still win the final battle for future generations and ensure that leave does mean leave. I have no doubt that the coming months will be quite choppy, and we will suffer a setback in short-term economic growth. But we do have the first Conservative government to have an effective parliamentary majority in 30 years. The overriding priority is to stick to our commitments and complete our trade negotiations with the EU by the 30th of June. Whether that results in a bare bones agreement or even no agreement, what the country will not be able to stomach is the disillusionment that will flow from prevarication and broken promises.